The Zetharian hunting vessel Crimson Fang had been tracking the small human transport ship for 3 solar cycles. Commander Velthar clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as he watched the primitive craft limp through space, its engines sputtering with damage from their initial ambush. "Easy prey," he hissed to his crew. Just like the reports said, humans are soft, weak creatures from a death world they call Earth. They will fetch a good price in the slave markets of Kronos 7. Inside the transport ship, Bella wiped blood from her forehead and glanced at Kanat, who was frantically working on the ship's damaged communications array. The dim emergency lights cast shadows across their faces, but neither showed fear. "How long until they board us?" Bella asked, her voice steady as she checked her equipment. Kanat didn't look up from his work. 10 minutes, maybe less. Their tractor beam is pulling us in. He paused, then smiled grimly. "Good." Bella returned the smile. It wasn't the expression of prey. It was the expression of a predator setting a trap. The Zetharians had made a fatal error. They had read the Galactic Council's assessment of humanity and believed every word. The reports described humans as fragile beings who had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, a species that valued peace and cooperation above all else. The reports mentioned Earth's pleasant climate, its abundant resources, and concluded that such a paradise world could never forge true survivors. What the reports failed to mention was that Earth was only a paradise because humanity had conquered it. They didn't understand that humans were apex predators who had climbed to the top of their food chain, not through natural armor or venomous fangs, but through something far more dangerous: relentless persistence and terrifying adaptability. The Crimson Fang's boarding tube connected with a metallic clang. Velthar led his hunting party of 12 warriors into the human ship, their plasma weapons charged and ready. They moved through the corridors, surprised by the silence. "Spread out," Velthar ordered. "Find them." They cannot have gone far. What the Zetharians didn't know was that Bella had spent 5 years as a combat engineer in Earth's asteroid mining conflicts, where a single mistake meant explosive decompression and instant death. Kanat had served in the Earth Defense Force's Special Operations Division, trained to survive in environments that would kill most galactic species within minutes. The first Zetharian hunter rounded a corner and never saw Bella drop from the ventilation shaft above. Her combat knife, a primitive weapon by galactic standards, found the gap in his exoskeleton with surgical precision. She had studied their anatomy during the 3-day chase, learning their weaknesses, planning her attack. 1 down, 11 to go. Kanat had rigged the ship's gravity generators to fluctuate in specific corridors. The second group of hunters found themselves suddenly weightless, then crushed by triple gravity, then weightless again. Disoriented and vomiting, they were easy targets. Kanat's makeshift weapons, fashioned from mining equipment and spare parts, proved devastatingly effective at close range. Velthar began to feel something he had never experienced before: fear. His hunting party's comm signals were disappearing one by one. The humans weren't running. They weren't hiding. They were hunting back. "Impossible," he breathed. "They're just humans. Prey species," the report said. His words died as the lights went out. Bella and Kanat had grown up on Earth, a world with a 24-hour day-night cycle. Their eyes had evolved to function in low light. The Zetharians, from a world with 3 suns, were effectively blind, but humans could see just fine. The next few minutes were chaos for Velthar's remaining warriors. They fired plasma bolts wildly into the darkness, hitting walls, equipment, and occasionally each other. Meanwhile, Bella and Kanat moved through the shadows like ghosts, their every action calculated, efficient, and utterly ruthless. Finally, only Velthar remained, backed into the transport ship's cargo bay. When the lights flickered back on, he saw them clearly for the first time. Bella stood to his left, her makeshift armor scorched but intact, her eyes cold and focused. Kanat emerged from the right, carrying weapons that shouldn't have been possible to construct from civilian ship parts. But it was their expressions that truly terrified Velthar. They weren't angry. They weren't afraid. They were calm, controlled, and absolutely determined. He finally understood what he was looking at. Persistence hunters, the kind of predator that didn't need to be faster or stronger than its prey. They just needed to never ever give up. "Your ship is now under our control," Bella said, her voice carrying the weight of authority. "Your crew is neutralized. You have a choice: surrender or join them." Velthar's mandibles trembled. "The Galactic Council will hear of this." You attacked us?" Kenneth interrupted, his tone matter-of-fact. "You tried to take us as slaves. Under galactic law, we have the right to defend ourselves. Every action we took was proportional response." He smiled without humor. "We documented everything." The Zetharian commander slumped in defeat. He had hunted dozens of species across the galaxy, but he had never encountered anything like humans. They had turned his ambush into their victory using nothing but determination, creativity, and a terrifying willingness to do whatever was necessary to survive. 3 days later, Bella and Kenneth delivered Velthar and his crew to the nearest Galactic Council station. The footage of the incident spread like wildfire through galactic networks. Species across the galaxy watched in horror as 2 humans systematically dismantled a hunting party of experienced Zetharian warriors. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. New reports about humanity were drafted, and this time, they included a critical detail that had been overlooked. Humans came from a death world not because it was harsh, but because they had made it to the top of a food chain filled with creatures designed to kill them. They had evolved not as prey, but as the most dangerous predators their world had ever produced. The warning went out to every species in the galaxy. Do not mistake human kindness for weakness. Do not assume their preference for peace means they cannot wage war. And above all, never make the mistake of treating them as prey. Because humanity had spent millions of years learning one fundamental lesson. It's not the strongest or the fastest that survives. It's the most adaptable, and no species in the galaxy was more adaptable than humans. The moment the Zetharians realized humans weren't prey, it was already too late. But their mistake ensured that no one else would make it again. Humanity's reputation as the deadliest predators in the galaxy was now firmly established, not through aggression, but through the simple act of refusing to be victims. Bella and Kenneth continued their journey, just 2 ordinary humans carrying on with their lives, unaware that they had changed the galaxy's perception of their entire species forever.